Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Setting problem motivation. The fish field, what to visualize and how to visualize. What Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the bodhisattvas, bodhisattvas, and particularly Acharya and the author of the text, Acharya Chandrakirti, and how you visualize them. They are like your mothers and you are like a child coming home, and your mothers are waiting there to give you love, affection, attention, embrace. Bodhicitta field, your two grandparents on your two sides, all of them in numbers, including your children, and all dear sentient beings. And how to visualize them. You are the mother here, and all others are like your children. You are there to give full love, affection, attention, so forth, to the extent that each one of them feels themselves as so special in your eyes. And the purpose of this study is to unravel the hidden treasure of the Buddha nature that exists within each one of us. Buddha nature, which is obscured by two sets of defilements, afflictive obscurations and chronic obscurations. And the afflictive obscurations rooted in the subclass of ignorance, which can be remitted by the wisdom of emptiness. And the chronic obscurations, the subtle stains of the afflictive obscurations. And this chronic obscuration are reflected in the form of self-centered attitude, which can be remedied by the bodhicitta, which has resulted more than oneself. And imagine that you are leading this group and all sentient beings are joining you. With that in mind, let's turn to page 2. And used by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views to you the Buddha Dharma. And used by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views to you the Buddha Dharma. And used by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views to you the Buddha Dharma. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness and no stateless. I prostrate to the constant Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, one who taught this peace which is free of aberrations. I prostrate to the mothers of the Buddhas and the healers and the bodhisattvas, who through the knowledge of all these years in specification of complete peace, who through the knowledge of all forces of the seven greatest achieved into the world. And through the possession of omniscience and through the set forth varieties in all aspects. The one who has transformed into the life of life, to benefit sentient beings, the teachers, guide and protector to you and restorations. The one who has eliminated the work of conceptualizations, is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and profound, who eternally shines forth forever in noble light rays, to you the Buddha and make restorations. Page 7. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become the Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become the Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanya Jola Zoge Chonanda, Chanjo Kado Dani Gyatsu Chi, Oye Jinso Pipe Sonamke. Dola benji sangye jubala sho, sangye choda soge chodamla, chanjo badu dani katsushi. Dage jinso ge beso namge, dola benji sangye jubala sho, sangye choda soge chodamla, chanjo badu dani katsushi. Dage jinso ge beso namge, dola benji sangye jubala sho. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well as taught by the great seer. Om Yadharama Hetu Prabhava Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashamanaye Swaha Om Yedama Hetu Prabhava Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashamanaye Swaha Om Yedama Hetu Prabhava Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashamanaye Swaha. All phenomena arise in causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes itself is taught by the great seer. Okay, page 17. As we recite the House Sutra mantra, imagine the Buddha Shakyamuni is exalting thus, that out of great compassion, that don't remain in the face of samsara, come out of samsara, come to us enlightenment, come to us ultimate happiness, ultimate eternal happiness. And you hearing this melodious voice of Buddha Shakyamuni, you inspire your grandparents and all the dear sentient beings, telling them, look, this is what a compassionate teacher Buddha Shakyamuni is exalting. Let us all not stay in samsara anymore. Let us go towards enlightenment, go towards ultimate happiness. Om Gade Gade Paragade Parasam Gade Bodhisvaha Om Gade Gade Paragade Parasangade 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 Bodhisvaha. Okay. we're doing page 11, stanza 39. Stanza 39. Question asked by Acharya Chandrakirti so far rejected reduction from self, say objective reduction from the production from self, or objective reduction by rejecting production by rejecting four possible productions. Then the opponents, and they come up with a very strong argument saying that if there is no objective existence at all, thus there is no objective production, then the question arises that how do you account? Then it becomes like what? It becomes like if everything becomes purely subjective. If everything is purely subjective, nothing is there on the object. Nothing is there from the object. It's just purely subjective. Purely subjective means it's purely mind. If it's purely mind, then say it becomes purely imagination. If it becomes purely imagination, then how can you account for the functionalities, the functional world, the cause-effect functional world? So, without accounting for the functional world, if you cannot account for the functional world, then the cause-effect in relation to the, say, one life transmitting to the next life, transmigrating to the next life. How can one person transmigrate from one life to the other? One. Number two, that in the process of one person traveling from one life to the other, so there are millions and trillions and infinite number of mental imprints. Who carries the mental imprints? Who carries the mental imprints from one life to the other? And say there's no link there. From the object side there's no link. It is just imagination. It's just imagination. And we may as well say that when you die, then the person the person dies, and then what carries there? From the object, what is there which travels? Okay. So Acharya Chandrakirti are saying that, so in this stanza 39, the answer given is that, so although this is going to be a little technical, answer which Acharya Chandrakirti gives is going to be a little technical, and okay, first let me say, 39, in that the actions do not cease by means of its intrinsic nature, meaning that say you do one karma, or you want to do one action today, say a virtuous fish liberation, the action. So this action, and then when you come home, then the act of fish liberating ceases. It ceases. But the imprint of that act, or the potential of that act to ripen into virtuous or the positive results, happiness in the future, is still retained there. So the act of the fish liberation, the virtuous act of fish liberation, the moment you come home, it has already stopped. It has already ceased. In that the actions do not cease. They cease, but they do not cease by means of intrinsic nature. They do not cease intrinsically. They do cease. They do cease, but they don't objectively cease. They don't intrinsically cease. Even though there is no foundational consciousness, it remains potent. So even though there is nothing as a foundational consciousness, alivigyan, which carries this imprint, action in the form of imprint from one life to the next life, although there's no such a alivigyan, still this imprint is not going to be wasted. This imprint of the positive karma is not going to be wasted. It remains potent. It remains powerful. Okay. Therefore, understand that the fruits will come to materialize even in cases where a long period of time has elapsed following the cessation of the action. Say, you do this fish liberation karma in this life. When? Day after tomorrow? Okay, day after tomorrow, you do that action. And then, 3 days later, that action ceases. And the potential of that action, potential to ripen into longevity and so forth, it remains intact. It is not damaged. It is not wasted. It remains intact. Now, even without Alevigyan, so this will travel. And then, should it be the case that this remains unripened or not activated, this potential remains not activated for 10, 11, 20 lifetimes. Action that you did today, and then 10 lifetimes in between, interrupted by 10 lifetimes, and then 11th lifetime, then you experience the result. For example, if this case, then this imprint, what happened to this imprint in between these 10 lifetimes? If it is the imprint today, and then tomorrow the result effects, and then it's fine. You don't have to carry it. You don't have to carry it. It say you get a money salary and then you just spend it. You don't have to put it in the bank. So whereas within these 10 lifetimes, when it is not activated in the form of the results, when it is not ripened 10 lifetimes, what happened to this imprint? What carries? Where is that stored? And who carries that along these 10 lifetimes? So this question. So therefore, understand that the fruits will come to materialize even in cases. Eventually, on the 11th lifetime, then if the fruits result, the fruits come to being, then where a long period of time such as 10 lifetimes, has elapsed following the cessation of the action. Action ceased when? In the first life. Then the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, ninth, 10. For these 10 lives, the action was still just in the imprint, the seed. And in these 10 lifetimes, where did this action go? And what about the imprint? Where? Who carried this? So this is all the question. Because it is not exhausted. It is not wasted. Because 11th life, it ripened. Which means that it was unbrokenly carried all along these 10 lifetimes. So who carried that? Where carried that? Where? All these questions. So it says that Acharya Chandrakirti, therefore understand that fruits will come to materialize even in cases where a long period of time has elapsed following the cessation of actions. So as for the advocates of Alevigyan, what is the answer? Who carries it? Alevigyan carries it. Right? So this is something objectively there is Alevigyan. It's not imagination, it's not subjective. It is objectively there is Alevigyan which carries this imprint from over these 10 lifetimes, then 11 times lifetime, then this activated. So in the case of the Acharya Chandrakirti, where everything is purely subjective, there's nothing there as the object which is traveling. Nothing there as from the object side traveling. So what carries this? So this Acharya Chandrakirti says that, yes, it travels. Okay, so now from this stanza, we don't see any explicit answer given by Acharya Chandrakirti, how it is there. Simply he said that, yes, it travels without being the potential being wasted. So then the response given, the detailed response comes out that, one, to make it very simple, it is just for our understanding, and which can be common between the two Madhyamikas, would be that this imprint is being not carried by the Alevigyan, but carried by mind. The mind travels from one life to the other, so this mind carries the imprint. One. Then Acharya Chandrakirti, precisely something which is so unique of the Prasangika, it says that this imprint, there's what is known as the disintegratedness. So the karma disintegrates, meaning that say July 6th is what? His Holiness' birthday. So TBC is celebrating something, right? So you organize lunch. So where you're going to put some tents? No? Huh? In the restaurant. Okay. And so not outdoor? Okay. So let's say outdoor. Outdoor, then you put the tents and so forth, right? The moment the program finishes, then the tents again put back to fold. You fold them.
right? For them, is this the full-fledged tent? No, this is sometimes the tables. You disassemble the table and then put wherever, right? Which means the table is not there. It doesn't mean that the capacity, the potential of the table is lost. Again, the next time you want it, again you put them back. So likewise, this what is known as the table. Just the table is disintegrated, disassembled, unassembled. What is the proper English? Unassembled, disassembled. Not unassembled. Okay. So has to come out of English. Okay. Unassembled, disassembled. Okay, disassembled. So now the question is likewise the karma that you accumulate, fish liberation karma that you accumulate. What happens is that the next moment you don't engage this karma. When you come back, you're tired. So you don't engage in this karma. So the karma is already, this karma is action. So now there's no more visible action there. So the action which we did earlier, that action, it disintegrates. Disintegrates meaning it is no more seen, right? It is no more seen, it disintegrates. So then Acharya Chandrakirti, the answer that he gave is that the karma is a cause, and then it gives rise to the disintegratedness of this karma. And the disintegratedness of the karma serves as the cause, and it gives rise to the disintegratedness of the karma. This is how it travels. We don't really need to have objective alivigyan there. So this travels. You do packing, disassemble the table, again you put it back, again disassemble, again you put it back. It goes like this, and finally, when you want it somewhere, then again you continue there, again you put it back, assemble them, and then use it. So likewise, when the time for the ripening of this imprint of the karma, when you reach that time, at that point, then the karma gets activated. The karma meaning the disintegratedness of the karma that gets activated. That gets activated. So, which means that the result finally, you are not looking for what carries it. Finally, what you are looking for is how do you account for the ripening after many lifetimes, ripening the karma which you accumulated 10 lifetimes ago, 100 lifetimes ago, 500 lifetimes ago, right? How do you account for this ripening? So for the Chitamatras, the advocates of the Alivigyan, so they are so concerned about what carries it. Because for them, they adhere to this belief that there should be something which is carrying it so objectively there. So they ask this question. Whereas Prasangika, Acharya Chandrakirti explain the same thing from a different angle. By bringing in the concept of the disintegratedness. So this disintegratedness of the karma is responsible for the ripening of the result, even though there's no objective agent carrying the karma like the Alivigyan and so forth. Okay, this is one thing. So more detailed things have to be done here, and then the more discussions are being carried whether or not this disintegratedness, this is permanent, is impermanent. It is impermanent. It is impermanent. So this disintegratedness. Then this integratedness, whether this is positive phenomena, negative phenomena, positive, negative, should not be thought of in terms of the wholesome or unwholesome. This is not in that connotation, with a very different connotation. Okay, so the questions are dealt with. In any way, what we have to know here is that for those the advocates of the objectively existing mind, like Alivigyan, so they try to explain the law of karma, karmic operation, karmic ripening, with the help of the Alivigyan. Whereas the Prasangika, even without that, even without the objective carrier, objective agent, they can still account for the functionality of the karma. So, how do the Prasangika give how does Prasangika give the answer? By the concept of disintegratedness of the karma, right? So this is something which is very unique. Okay. Stanza 14. Having apprehended an object perceived in a dream, even an awakened, a foolish person, or an unintelligent person, or unwise person may still feel lustful. Likewise, effects will materialize in from actions which have ceased and possesses no intrinsic existence. Okay, now what is being said here is more like say, a revision of what we did earlier. So say, if things are purely subjective like illusion, then how the opponents, they argue that how can you account for the functionalities? So then, earlier, the example of the what? Reflection of the moon. Reflection of the moon is illusion. It is illusion. Although it is illusion, still it has to come into being, but it depends on many other factors. One, not only that it comes into being as a result, but it depends on other factors. It serves as a cause to give rise to mind, deceptive mind, seeing it as real. It serves as a cause. So therefore, although it is illusion, illusion still serves the functionalities. Right? So now another example is given. Say in a dream. In a dream, say we may have a dream which can be very powerful, a very scary dream, nightmare dream, or a very a dream of where the attachment is very intense and so forth. So then when you wake up, oh, it's my dream. But some people say what it says here is the foolish. I don't know foolish, but they say maybe Acharya Chandrakirti will say unwise, unintelligible people. The unintelligent people will still continue to crave for the content of the dream which the person felt attached to in the dream. Still feels the craving. And then if the dream was very scary, like nightmare, ghosts and so forth, then you wake up, still there's a fear in your mind. Right? So although the dream, it is illusion, it's not true. Still it functions to give rise to the emotional states even after waking up. Even after waking up, it still does the function. With a pleasant dream, it gives rise to very pleasant feeling of the post-sleep. Whereas with the unpleasant dreams, then the unpleasant feelings to the post-sleep. So that the functionality is there, proper functionality. It doesn't mean that if something is illusion-like, then the functionality is disrupted. This is not true. So functionalities can hold true even on the level of illusion nature. Okay. 40. Having apprehended an object perceived in a dream, like say the object of attachment, object of fear, even when awakened, an unintelligible person may still feel lustful or fearful. Likewise, effects will materialize even from actions which have ceased and possesses no intrinsic existence. Which possess no intrinsic existence means which are purely subjective. Purely subjective means which are purely illusion-like. Even though things are purely illusion-like, still they can function to give rise to happy moments, happy emotions, and unhappy emotions. 41. Even though these objects are equal in being non-existent, those with now this stanza is again very powerful. Okay, now let's say okay, say when you put on the blue glass, how many of you have seen snow? How many of you have never seen snow in your life? And how many of you have seen snow? Okay, those hands did not come up. What is that? You see, not seen? Okay, all seen, right? Okay, all seen. Imagine someone has never seen a snow. Someone has never seen a snow, and then you put on a blue glass, blue spectacles, and then you go to Mount Everest. You go to Mount Everest, then you start seeing a snow. What is that snow? Blue. Right? Okay. So blue snow, does it exist or not? Blue snow does not exist. It never existed. Only if you dye it is one thing. Otherwise, blue snow never exists on this earth. At least on this earth there was never blue snow. Blue snow was never existent, so the blue snow that you are seeing is illusion. Yes, no?
Yes.
It's totally deceptive. Although it's deceptive, but you only see blue snow and you don't see red snow with this blue glass. Yes, no?
Yes.
Although it is illusion, but there's accuracy there. There's efficacy there. With these conditions, then the illusion, right? Only one kind of illusion is seen. Not all illusions are seen. You getting it? Likewise, even though things are purely subjective, like illusion light, purely subjective illusion light, but it doesn't mean that you do bad things and good things will result. You do good things and bad things will result. It will never happen. Even though things are all illusion like. Even though this blue snow never existed, it is purely illusion. But with the blue glass, you only see one illusion, which is blue snow, not the red snow, not the yellow snow. Okay. 41. Even though these objects are equal in being non-existent, blue snow, red snow, both are equally non-existent, and yet with the blue glass, you only see blue snow and not red snow. Those with cataracts see what they perceive as falling hairs. So the one who has the one particular deception, defective eyes, seeing the hairs falling. So they see only the hairs falling, they don't see the chocolates falling. Right? They don't see chocolates falling, they only see hairs falling. Hairs falling and chocolates falling, they are both illusion. Yet what they see is only one, not anything. So therefore, although things are illusion-like, within the illusion-like is not that anything will give rise to anything. So there is a efficacy of the causal relationship, even within the domain of the illusion-like nature. 41. Even though these objects are equal in being non-existent, those with cataracts see what they perceive as falling hairs, but not perceive as some other non-existent things, like chocolates falling. So know that after the ripening of the act, there will be no further ripening. Meaning that, okay, you do something good action, good karma, and then good karma is illusion, and the result is also illusion. You do one good karma, and the good result will happen, or bad result will happen, and if you're lucky, then the good result will continue, good result, all with one positive karma. Endlessly many good results will happen, endlessly, right? But it's not true. With one effect, with one cause, one result, right? One result. But there are cases with the bodhicitta spirit, with the motivation of bodhicitta, that the same action which seems to be so small can ripen like perennial, like say the incessant results can be given rise to. They are things because of the push by the bodhicitta motivation, right? Otherwise, generally speaking, say one action will give rise to, say if this action is to give rise to 500 lifetimes, say one positive karma is to give rise to 500 human lives. Then after 500 human lives, the karma is exhausted. When the karma exhausts, the result will not. The result ends there. But the opponents may argue that if everything is subjective, then everything becomes imaginary, illusion-like. If everything is illusion-like, then say the karma meant to give rise to 500 human births, right? Oh, never mind, it will give rise to endlessly many. 500, endlessly many. And Acharya Chandrakirti says, no, that's not true. It says, so know that after the ripening of the act, that action, there will be no further ripening, right? Because there's the efficacy of the cause and karma, although things are illusion-like. 42. Therefore, unwholesome fruits follow. Now, this is more like a summary, saying that, therefore, within the domain of the illusion-like nature, while nothing is there from the object side, everything is purely subjective. Yes, no? Everything is purely according to Prasangika Madhyamika. Everything is purely subjective, meaning that everything is like dream, everything is like illusion. If everything is subjective, then how do we say that everything is like illusion? Can somebody help me? What makes us think that because everything is subjective, say because that this flower is purely subjective, we say that this flower becomes like illusion. Why? Anyone? What makes you think that, say, if you've understood that this purely subjective, imagine that you have understood that this purely subjective. If it's purely subjective, what should it be illusion like?
Objective nature is illusion like.
Okay, good. Just as illusion is not from the object. Illusion comes from the subject. It's purely subjective. Illusion. Even the ordinary people will come to know that illusion is purely subjective. If the flower that I'm seeing is purely subjective, then it becomes an illusion. Just the illusion is purely subjective. This also subjective, purely subjective. Then both are equally subjective. Simply because that object that you are seeing, the pebbles and the what? Sticks, pebbles and the sticks, you see them as elephants and so forth, right? Elephants, so forth. We describe these elephants as illusion. Why illusion? They are not there. They are coming from your mind. Why they illusion? Because they don't exist here. They don't exist from the object. They are coming from your subjective mind. Because of which they are described as illusion. Now this flower also becomes illusion-like. Because this is also coming from this subject, purely subject. So everything becomes illusion-like. Everything comes from your subjective mind. Okay. Now with this 42. Now within this illusion-like nature, where everything is simply coming from your mind, nothing from the object. Therefore, within this domain of the illusion-like nature, the functionalities so efficaciously operate. Illusion-like positive karmas will give rise to illusion-like pleasant experiences. Illusion-like negative karmas will give rise to illusion-like pleasant experiences. Yes? Okay, don't say yes. I just tried to deceive you. And you said yes. What did I say? I said illusion-like negative karma will give rise to illusion-like pleasant experiences. You said yes. Okay, wake up, you wake up. This text is to wake us up. This text is meant for us to wake up, to become the full awakened one. Right? Okay, wake up, wake up, wake up. Okay, let me say this again. In this illusion-like nature, the functionalities operate so efficaciously, without any error. How? Illusion-like positive karmas will give rise to illusion-like pleasant experiences. Yes, no? Yes. Illusion-like negative karmas will give rise to illusion-like unpleasant experiences. Yes, no? Yes. Illusion-like negative karmas will not give rise to pleasant experiences. Illusion-like positive karmas will not give rise to illusion-like negative experiences. Yes, no? Yes. This is what is meant by the efficacy of the law of karma, while things are all illusion-like. Within the domain of the illusion-like nature, things still operate, although as illusion-like nature. Okay, 42. Therefore, unwholesome fruits follow. Unwholesome meaning the unpleasant fruits, the unhappy fruits follow from the dark acts or the unpleasant acts, illusion-like dark acts, while the wholesome fruits are seen to follow from the virtuous acts. Those with a mind devoid of virtue and non-virtue become free. This line is very, 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 very important. Those with a mind devoid of virtue and non-virtue become free. Okay, so if we don't understand what emptiness is, then people can easily misunderstand this, and then on that basis, they can simply misguide many other people. They can simply misguide themselves, first of all, and then misguide others. Okay, what it says is that those with a mind devoid of virtue and non-virtue become free. Okay, say virtue, where's non-virtue? Okay, say virtue and non-virtue. Now, do you know something about the ultimate analysis, conversion analysis? Yes, no? Yes. Okay, so your mind is ultimate analysis. The ultimate analysis that you have is your mind. So the mind, what it says? What it says? No, those with the mind. You, those who those you. Those of you with the mind. Which mind? Ultimate analysis. Ultimate analysis mind. Devoid of virtue. Now I subject this mind to your ultimate analysis. No, this virtue subject to the ultimate analysis mind that you have. What happens to this virtue? The virtue disappears. Virtue and devoid of virtue. Now, with respect to you, the virtue that I'm seeing is, from your point of view, is devoid. Now, I subject the non-virtue. Right? Then what happens? With respect to you, it disappears, it's empty. Okay, non-virtue. Devoid of virtue and devoid of non-virtue. So for you, this virtue, this non-virtue, so this virtue, what happens? This virtue disappears, and because of which this virtue, the virtue that we have is all contaminated virtues. We have is all contaminated virtues. So these contaminated virtues, because it disappears, then we are freed from the contaminated pleasures. And because that you are freed from the non-virtues, you are freed from the miseries. You are freed from the miseries. You're getting it? Okay. So those with a mind devoid of virtue and non-virtue with respect to the ultimate analysis. With respect to the mind of the ultimate analysis, those beings will be freed. Because what you see is that objectively, even the virtues don't exist objectively, even the non-virtues don't see objectively. So the self-grasping ignorance pertaining to the virtue, pertaining to non-virtue, all this self-grasping ignorance dissolves. When the self-grasping ignorance dissolves, what happens? All afflictions dissolve. When the afflictions dissolve, what happens? All contaminant karmas dissolve. When all contaminant karmas dissolve, what happens? Miseries dissolve. So you are free from miseries. Those with the mind devoid of virtue and non-virtue become free. This is so precious line. Okay, some of you may then say that, then what about the uncontaminated karma? You subject uncontaminated karma to ultimate, even that also dissolves. That's even better. When the uncontaminated karma dissolves, right? If it does not dissolve, then it is seen as objectively real. It is seen as objectively real. If you see that's objectively real, then it is not uncontaminated karma, it is contaminated karma. Contaminated by the self-grasping ignorance, which sees things as objectively real, which views things as objectively real. So this is a dichotomy. This is a dichotomy here in the presentation. Say, it is like saying that, the elephant in my pocket is so huge it cannot fit in TBC. TBC hall. Elephant in my pocket is so huge that it cannot fit in the TBC hall. This is contradictory. I'm in TBC hall, and the elephant in my pocket should be smaller than what I am, and it doesn't fit in TBC hall. This is a contradictory statement. Likewise, saying that the uncontaminated karmas dissolve. So the result of uncontaminated karma will not be experienced. This statement that you're making is a contradictory statement. So if you uncontaminated karma, does it dissolve or not? It does dissolve. It dissolves because of this, that the karma that we accumulate is uncontaminated. Say anything, including the karma, including the Buddha, dissolve in your ultimate analysis. And particularly this ultimate analysis, it becomes non-dual ultimate analysis. If it becomes non-dual ultimate analysis, then what happens is that in the process, from your point of view, everything dissolves. But I'm watching you. I'm watching you with what analysis? Conventional ultimate analysis. I'm watching you, I'm not watching emptiness. Right? So my mind is conventional analysis. So what I'm seeing is the conventional truth of you. What you are seeing is the ultimate truth. So you don't see what I'm seeing. Right? So what experiences that you're going through? What experiences that you're going through is not judged by you, it's judged by conventional mind. Because experiences are always conventional truth. It cannot be seen by ultimate analysis. So I'm watching you. Wow, even the uncontained karma also dissolves in this person's ultimate analysis. Wow, now look, the mind has become so pure with this person. The mind has become so stable in such a restful state. It's amazing. This is known as uncontaminated karma, right? So this is explained not by you, by an outsider looking with the conventional analysis. And then you come out of the meditation, right? Then you enter into the conventional analysis. Then you will come to sense from your experiences. You will come to sense, okay, I've accumulated uncontaminated karma. Only then, not when you are accumulating it, you don't realize that. When you come out of that, then you realize. Okay, so this is little technical, and yet very important. So particularly those of you who are on the, say, coming here for the first time, second time, right? So if you listen to this, say, for 2 times, 3 times in the future, then you see that it becomes very easy. It becomes very easy. Okay, and so what I'm explaining now in the monastic universities, never is that explained until you reach like the at least 9th or 10th year, right? So you're all very lucky, right? Very lucky. Okay, very good. Yes.
Is the uncontaminated karma the karma done by the Buddha as
Not necessary. Uncontaminated karma is the karma accumulated by the non-dual wisdom. Non-dual wisdom may not necessarily be with the Buddhas. Gate, paragate. When you reach paragate, parasangate, bodhisattva, these 3 levels. In these 3 levels, parasangate in the context of the minor practitioners is always Buddha. Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva in the context of the Mahayana, in the context of the minor practices is always the Buddha. So that is always we collect uncontaminated karmas. Then the paragati, parasangati, these two levels. So only when you are in the experience of non-dual, then you accumulate uncontaminated karma. When you are in the dual, when you come out of the non-dual experience, when you come out of that, you start eating, teaching, and then the resting. So in these experiences, you don't accumulate the uncontaminated karma. Uncontaminated karma is accumulated only when you are into the experience of the non-dual experience of emptiness. Okay. 42 once more. Therefore, unwholesome fruits follow from the dark eggs, while wholesome fruits are seen to fall from the virtuous eggs. Those with a mind devoid of virtue and non-virtue become free. So from this, free meaning freedom from miseries, achieving nirvana, right? So to achieve nirvana, how should you achieve nirvana? Those with a mind devoid of virtue and non-virtue, you should achieve a state where you can see the emptiness, emptiness of the virtue and non-virtue, emptiness of all phenomena. Okay, so the wisdom of emptiness plays a very important role. Without wisdom of emptiness, the freedom from the miseries is impossible, right? The last line. So, speculation on karma and its effects has been discouraged. Okay, so this one. Speculation on karma and its effects has been discouraged. So this can be understood in 2 ways. First, let me explain it from the one angle. So the speculation of karma and its effects as intrinsically real. Speculation of karma and its effects as intrinsically real has been discouraged, has been dissuaded. Right? Which means, what should you be reflecting on? You should be reflecting on the, instead of intrinsically existing karma and its effect, you should be reflecting on the emptiness of intrinsicality of the karma and its effects. Okay, this is one way of understanding it. Then another way of understanding, which is presented in the text, is the speculation of karma and its effects. Karma and its effects. Karma and its effect. Karma and its effect. I say the karma's effect, the gross and the subtle. The gross level of the operation, the karma and its effect, the gross level, is something which we can understand. Say, if you engage in the act of, say, harming others, then you will suffer. If you engage in the act of helping others, you will experience happiness. So the gross one is relatively what we can, easier, which we can understand. Now the subtle ones, for example, say I always like to have one single flower on my table to be used as example for my emptiness, the instructions. But this time it's the multiple flowers, right? So therefore, somehow the moment I pick it up, there's little uneasiness coming. So this uneasiness coming is because of this multiple flowers, which is something which is not really fitting as what I intend to have. And this is my karma. This is my karma that the TBC did not find one piece beautiful flower. That's my karma. Okay. Which karma? Which karma? Right? Which karma? When did you do that? And then instead of pink, why not blue? Why you got only the pink one, not the blue one, not the yellow one? Which karma? What karma was responsible? That is only the pink, not the pink, yellow, blue mix. Why not? Which karma? Then these things is beyond the ordinary people's understanding. So it says that speculation on karma in a subtle way, subtle operation of the karma and its effect has been discouraged. So this is one way of understanding it. And what I find difficult, what I find, the more of my taste would be the first interpretation, because of the correlation with the earlier lines. Earlier lines speaking about, say, those with the mind devoid of virtue and non-virtue become free, right? So free, and I was talking about emptiness all the time, and suddenly jumped into this point. So I was referring to the commentary by Lama Tsongkhapa, I was referring to the auto-commentary by Acharya Chandrakirti. We do see that both the presentations are somehow implicitly, explicitly being found here. So I want to give you both. Okay, 43. Now the question arises: if, as we explained, that everything is subjectively real, if everything is subjectively real, then the Buddha taught objective reality many times. Buddha taught objective reality many times. So why the Buddha has to teach all these things? So it says, foundational consciousness exists. The person itself exists. It is these aggregates that alone exist. These statements which the Buddha has made are for those who cannot understand the most profound power. Right? So at one point the Buddha taught that the person, the five aggregates are the loads, the burdens, or the loads, and the person is the carrier of the loads. This is what the Buddha said. One. On another occasion, the Buddha said that all the three worlds, they are just your own mind. Number two. Still on another occasion, the Buddha said that the self does not exist, but the karmas and the consciousness exists. Right? The karmas and the ripening results exist. So, say the first one, where the Buddha said that the five aggregates are the loads, and the person is the carrier of the loads, which means that the person and the loads can be separated. Right? So the five aggregates, the Buddha is indicating as though like just as the person and the loads can be separated, the five aggregates and the self can be separated. This is what the Buddha indicated, which means that the five aggregates, you remove them and the self can be found. Which means if such a self exists, it should be permanent unitary, independent self. It should be permanent, unitary, independent self. So therefore, Buddha at one time, even the Buddha taught that such a permanent, unitary, independent self exists. Objectively existent self exists. Then on another occasion, the Buddha said that the self does not exist, but the karma and the rapid results exist. Self does not exist, but the karmas and the rapid results exist. So the karmas and the rapid results, you go into the aggregates. Aggregate of your intention, mental intention is the karma. And then they say the human mind, human body, right? So these are the rapid results. So the Buddha said that the person who's the owner of these do not exist, it's just illusion. But these things, they do exist, indicating as well like there is autonomous substantial entity here. The number 2, autonomous substantial entity here, number 2. Then on another occasion the Buddha said, all 3 realms are just your mind. There is no external reality, it's just the mind. The mind is the object. Everything is just a subjective, purely mind, there is no object. Object meaning there is no external object. Externality is not there. Again the Buddha taught it. So, if this is taught by the Buddha, then how can you reject objective existence? So here in the first case, the self is objectively presented by the Buddha, 1. Number 2, when the self is rejected, but the karma and the rapid results are presented as objectively real, number 2. Then number 3, the Buddha sort of taught that all the external reality does not exist, but the mind exists objectively. So all these are taught by the Buddha himself. So how can you possibly reject objective existence? So this question arises. Number there the number 7 you last year. So so then why did the Buddha teach that these things exist if there's no objective existence at all? So this question asked. So Acharya Chandrakirti says that this is true. No doubt Acharya Chandrakirti did not deny the fact that the Buddha taught these things. So he said that these statements which the Buddha has made are for those who cannot understand the most profound truth. So those who cannot understand the ultimate truth, for them the Buddha taught these lower levels of understanding. The objective existence is taught for them. And for us, we're all the lucky ones. Right? Okay, what if we are with the Buddha Shakyamuni, then what would the Buddha Shakyamuni to teach us? Directly emptiness or any of these? Huh? No, don't pull my leg. You have to say that Buddha will teach us the final one. No, the final one. Emptiness of the intrinsic reality. Yes, you have to say this. Otherwise, I become the wrong person. Okay, so 44. Just as even though he referring to the Buddha Shakyamuni, just even though he is free from egoistic view, so this word, egoistic, egotistic, egoic, there are 3 words. Egoistic, egotistic, egoic, there are 3 words. And for no doubt, egoistic and egotistic, these 2 are slightly different, right? Okay, if now this is what I learned from some Western psychology. I learned from some Western psychology about the distinction between the egoistic and the egotistic. So I don't want to make decision here unnecessarily. Okay, so egoistic view meaning, so in this context, egoistic view meaning that having a self-grasping ignorance, as simple as that. Just as even though the Buddha Shakyamuni, is free from the self-grasping ignorance, the view of the self-grasping ignorance, the Buddha used expressions like I and mine, likewise, even though entities are devoid of intrinsic existence, within the provisional sense, he taught that they do exist. So the Buddha Shakyamuni, at times when he was, say, giving teachings to the followers, then at times the Buddha was narrating his past lifetimes. Oh, at one time, when I was king by the name this, when I. So he referred to himself as the I. So although there's no sense of self-recognition that this I exists subjectively, it's not there in Buddha, but then the Buddha did use these expressions like I, mine, and so forth. So, likewise, even though entities are devoid of intrinsic existence, within a provisional sense means just within the conventional sense, the Buddha taught that they do exist. Okay, so if you could remember, what we do is that initially when we study about the true truths, emptiness, so forth, and then you may be very precise, saying that all things all exist conventionally, although they do not exist ultimately. Such a distinction you can make. It's better to make these distinctions initially make these distinctions. Then slowly, as your understanding becomes, don't just remain in the intellectual level all the time, right? First you have to build the intellectual strength, intellectual knowledge of what is emptiness, conventional truth, ultimate truth. Oh, things do exist where ultimately nothing exists, but never mind, convention exists, things exist non-conventionally. So these just making things in a very proper setting, you can do it initially. Then, but this is on the intellectual level. Then don't remain in the intellectual level all the time. If you just remain in the intellectual level all the time, the danger is that then these words, oh, things don't exist ultimately, but things exist conventionally. In your mind, what is going? Things objectively exist conventionally, right? This is contradictory, right? What you've learned that things exist conventionally. What's going in your mind? Things objectively exist conventionally. Things conventionally exist objectively. This is going in your mind. If always remain on the intellectual level. So what you have acquired intellectual level, this is so precious. At the same time, once you acquire a bit of wealth of the intellectual understanding, then try as much as possible, try to meditate. Learning, reflection, and meditation. Wisdom of emptiness, the wisdom of emptiness, wisdom of the learning, the wisdom of reflection, and the wisdom of meditation. So once you have a wisdom of the first wisdom of the learning, when you are quite okay with the first one, right? Don't feel satiated over the learning. Don't feel satiated. Never feel satiated over the learning, right? Even though, what I'm saying now, when you have adequate learning, then you must not stay there. You must upgrade to the reflection and the meditation. When I say this, I don't mean to say that stop learning now. Right? Keep learning. Keep learning. While you keep learning, then incorporate reflection and meditation. This is so important. This is so important. Then, with the reflection meditation, if possible, on a daily basis. Say, for example, and say, hey, how long are you? I meditate on emptiness, right? Oh, wow, it's amazing. But how long have you been into the Buddhism? Oh, just 1 month, right? And then the young monks in the monastic universities are studying like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. They may be amazed, right? What I'm saying, even if that's the case, don't worry. Do whatever you're doing. Say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even though things become so mechanical, right? At one point, you do the meditation which we have been doing in the Bali retreat. Dorji retreat in Bali, the morning session. So that one. So by following the same instruction, doing that, and then maybe after a while, it may become very mechanical. Mechanical meaning that you know all the steps, and no feeling, no change of feelings coming in you, right? It becomes so mechanical. What am I doing? It is like 1 plus 2 equals 3, 3 plus 2 equals 5, 5 plus 2 equals 7, right? You say it every day, you say it every day. No change in the emotional world will happen. So it becomes like that. Even though it becomes like that, continue doing that. Meanwhile, expand it, enrich your learning, enrich your reflection and meditation through reading more, through attending more of the teachings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and so forth, right? So that way, then these will be enriched. And then sometimes have some discussion among your, say, like-minded friends, and they consult, receive teachings from your teachers and so forth. That's very important to enrich your experience. So, and those of you who have quite, say, a wealth of information about the learning of the emptiness, then it is crucially required for one to reflect on it and meditate on it. And then slowly, experience that you get, you may come to the conclusion as to like the flower is not really there, right? The flower is not there, and the flower's objective is not there, and the flower is not there. The feeling may become as to like very similar. And then the flower's not there, and it's not just your mind is playing trick on you. It is really not there. This confidence will come in you. Then the question arises, where is the functionality? This next question, right? So this question coming to you then, and the question coming to you now is very different. Coming to you now is just to make sure that intellectually there's no contradiction. Then it's going to be very different. Then you see that still the functionality is there. What is that? It's just like illusion. I see something, but it's not really there. Right? I see you do good things result. Illusion like good things is not really there, illusion like. And the illusion like good things happen, not illusion like bad things happen. This is very true, amazing. Within the illusion like, things operate in the illusion like nature. So this will come to you, right? So only then some change, transformation in the emotional world will take place. Only then. Otherwise, you do breathing meditation. Otherwise, you do, say, the meditation nature of the mind. They will suppress your negative emotions to some extent, but the actual transformation will never take place. Only when you feel that from the object side is nothing is really there, just illusion-like causes, give rise to illusion-like result, and yet so efficacious that is happening. When that feeling comes to you, then the real transformation starts taking place. This is so precious, so precious. Okay. Okay. Seems like when I read my mind. Okay. Okay, we just continue. Okay. We'll continue paying stanza 45, 46, 47, and 48. Okay, I think. Okay. Maybe 1 or 2 questions, and then we'll stop here. If you have questions. Any questions? Yes.
How do I practice on emptiness meditation?
Okay, that's a good question. So usually okay, this is my very personal take. I say, when I lead group retreats, group Bodhicitta retreats, right? Bodhicitta retreats or emptiness class and so forth. I always say that even though the topic is going to be very complicated, not just one day class, say like whole 7 day, 10 days retreat, intense. There, what I would say is that people may not feel intimidated, even though they have no background in Buddhist philosophy. They should feel intimidated only if they have no two criteria. They should feel intimidated only if you to attend these courses if you don't have the two criteria. What are they? One, interest. You should have the interest. If you don't have the interest and coming to attend these retreats, it will be just a toil on you, right? So this is warning. Number two, consistency is required. If you have interest and consistency, even without any background on philosophy, emptiness, anything, for me, I'm so happy to embrace you, to welcome you for such programs, right? So what I'm saying, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or advanced or whatever, right? The thing is, don't forget that to practice wisdom and emptiness, it must be done in 3 steps: learning, reflection, and meditation. Learning means acquiring the information, acquiring the knowledge as much as possible. Say for example, E equals mc square. And if somebody asks me what is the famous equation of Albert Einstein, I would say E equals mc square. Right? And how do you know that this equation, how do you know, how is that derived? I have no clue. But I do know that this is the popular equation, except for by not Arjuna, by Albert Einstein. I do know that. So this is my just wisdom derived through learning. I learned it, and I don't know how it came into being. I learned it, right? And emptiness is non-affirming negative. Okay, this don't forget it. Then next time, emptiness is it affirming negative? Non-affirming. It's non-affirming. How do you know that? I don't know. But the answer that you gave is accurate. So this kind of knowledge, where you don't have the confidence, is known as the wisdom derived through learning. First. Now, number 2, say, I shared with you already, I think I already shared this on the first or second, third day, that say, today if you ask me what is 3 into 4, I will say 12. Today if you ask me, 12. And how 12? I can very convincingly convince you. But in those days, when I was just age 6 or 7, my mathematics teacher asked me to ask all the students to memorize the table, the table of 3, multiplication table of 3. What I do, I don't know how 3 into 1, 3, 3 into 2, 6, 3 into 3, 9, I have no clue. So then the next day the teacher would take the test. So my fingers become so busy. My fingers will go behind. Hey Dorji, what is 3 into 3? 3 into 1, 3 ones are very simple 3. 3, 2, then the fingers so busy. 3, 4, 5, 6, correct. 3, 3, then 6, 7, 8, 9, correct. Right? I have no clue how 3 into 3 equals 9. I have no clue, but I'm giving the correct answer. So this is purely what I've learned. I do not have the conviction that 3 equals 3 is 9. 3 into 3 equals 9. I have no conviction. So this is purely the first level, the wisdom derived through learning. Then number 2, today, if somebody asks me what is 3 into 3, I'll say 9. And how do you know that, right? Okay, 3 boys come and 9 chocolates. I give 3 chocolates to 1 boy, 3 chocolates to boy 2, 3 chocolates to boy 3, right? 3 boys into 3 chocolates each is 9. So I need 9 chocolates, right? So this is the wisdom derived through. I've gained the conviction that 3 into 3 equals 9, 100%. Nobody can shake this faith. Nobody can shake this conviction from me. So this is known as the the conviction that you gained, the initial conviction that you gained in the emptiness, that 100% things are empty of objective existence, 100%. The moment you get this conviction, this is where you upgrade the wisdom of learning to the wisdom of reflection. This is number 2. Now, with this, for example, now if somebody says, what is 3 into 3? 9, right? Now the person says, okay, do the calculation. 3 into 3 plus 4 minus 2 into 2 minus 1 plus 2. Quickly, I get lost. Which means that my mind is not fast. It is not naturally coming. It is not naturally coming. I'm so convinced that if you give it me on the paper, I can do it perfectly right. And not only perfectly right, I know how it comes. I'm so convinced of this. I have the conviction in this. And yet, I don't have the spontaneity. I don't have the spontaneity. Right? So, and this wisdom of emptiness, you may get the conviction, it's 100% there's no objective existence. 100% what I'm seeing is just illusion. Right? Then, this wisdom of emptiness is for what? What are you going to do with this wisdom? What for? What for you are cultivating this wisdom? Anyone?
To eliminate all mental afflictions.
To eliminate all mental afflictions. And what is the force on mental afflictions? Right? In this class, somebody says, hey, you the stupid guy. Right? Then what happens? Hey, when should I become angry? He's saying that I'm a stupid guy. Should I become angry? Yes, of course you should become angry. How dare that this person tells you that you're a stupid guy? Okay, let me be angry. Okay, he said like this. Okay, then should I reflect on this? No, it's so spontaneous. Afflictive emotions, they are so spontaneous. Where is the remedy to overcome the afflictions? Hey, come to TBC. Right? What is the remedy? Wisdom of emptiness. Right? For the wisdom of emptiness, even to just get a glimpse. Forget about the spontaneity. Even to get a glimpse, hey, come to TBC at 2 o'clock. No, 2:30 come. Then we say, oh, now Om Ye Dharma. Now turn to page 11. This. So, intellectual. And then slowly, yes, now what he's saying next, I think it's making sense when I'm in this hall. I think it's making sense. Right? The moment I get up, again it disappears. Okay, so this is your antidote. This is your antidote to what? To the so spontaneous, intense afflictions. How can this antidote overcome this affliction which is so spontaneous? So this antidote as well should be made spontaneous. It's not sufficient that you have the experience of emptiness. This experience of emptiness must be made very spontaneous. Just as the afflictions are so spontaneous, the antidote as well should be more spontaneous, more intense. How to make it spontaneous? Right? Through constant familiarization. Constant familiarization. That is what is known as the wisdom derived through familiarization, meditative familiarization. Number 3. Wisdom derived through meditation. So this, if you only see this connection, link, wisdom derived through learning, reflection, meditation, then wisdom derived through meditation makes sense to you. Otherwise, many people, they don't know how the connection amongst these 3. And they said, what is the point of wisdom derived through learning and reflection? It's just waste of time. And the guy said, how many years you have learned it? 10 years. Look, this is just waste of time. Directly go to meditation. It's impossible. Saying like, you don't know how to read and write, and directly do PhD in physics. This is how many people, they are misguided. Right? So therefore, make sure that you know these texts. We are all very fortunate that we met with these texts. We are very fortunate that we met with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Right? If today I'm wondering, if in the same position of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, if there is someone else who have no clue of these texts, then we'll destroy Buddhism in just a few days. We'll say that, oh, this is just directly go into meditation. All these studies, they are just waste of time. Directly go to meditation. Right? And then what happens? All these texts, all these true gems will disappear. then just the fake picture gems will be left. Right? So this is the danger. So therefore, we are all very fortunate that we have met with such a precious text, Acharya Chandrakirti's text. Okay.
We have 5 questions.
Yes. So therefore, going back to the main question, is that, so we have to, for emptiness, we have to, at the moment, as beginners, always study more on emptiness, one. And then make sure that you listen to His Holiness the Dalai Lama's teachings on emptiness more. It's very important. And then, if possible, try to attend classes in TBC, ABC, and the other classes. Try to attend as much class as possible. Number 3. And then, say, for example, like this book. This book is almost like 10, 12 years of effort of compilation. Is a compilation of all the important texts on emptiness and bodhicitta, as taught by the many saints, which were further explained and taught by His Holiness the Dalai Lama over the last like 10, 15 years. This is compilation, right? So you can read like 2 or 3 pages every day of this book. And then same the bodhicitta retreat which we conducted in Bali and in the Deopalanchu and other places. So there's the morning session. We have to record the morning session. Morning session, there is the meditation on emptiness. So that part, see if you can bring it a part of your, say, daily practice. And then in this, there's one section on what is known as, with the title, Staircase to Emptiness. Staircase to Emptiness. See if that makes sense to you. Read that more. Along with the 10 questions, there are several, 6 or 7 remarks. The remarks are equally important, just as the 10 questions. Okay, so these are things that we can do to improve. They start with the practice of emptiness.
Questions? Thank you, Geshe. I am still very attached to the world and desire, especially toward food. I am always thinking about food. It is affecting my Dharma practice and even my life. We are learning about emptiness now, but according to the Lamrim, renunciations comes before emptiness. Therefore, which should I practice first to help me uproot craving and move on?
Okay, this is very practical question. Very practical question. In fact, the renunciation means to renounce the miseries. We all came to Dharma. Started saying, I have a problem, right? I have a problem. And then I'm not getting this answer from physics. I'm not getting this answer from my friends. I'm not getting this answer from my club. So I want to get the answer. And then you come to Dhamma centers. Started by, I have a problem. I want to renounce this misery. So this is how we started, right? Now, to renounce the miseries, what exactly does it mean to renounce miseries? In fact, yesterday we discussed about what exactly is samsara. You remember? No? Okay. Okay. 4 or 5 days, little gap, 4 or 5 days, intense studies. Sometimes the computer hangs. Yeah, it just happened. I'm not giving you understand it. Yeah, it's amazing, which means that we have really put effort. Without putting effort, the computer will not hang. Yeah, it hangs, sometimes it hangs, yeah. Okay, so they say to renounce the miseries. To renounce miseries, we need to know how to renounce the cause of the miseries. Because the miseries, they inevitably arise from the causes. Omiya dharma hetu prabhava. Right? Okay. Now, to renounce the causes of the miseries, we need to know how to renounce the root cause of the miseries. What is the root cause of miseries? It's the self-grasping ignorance. We need to know how to renounce self-grasping ignorance. To To know how to renounce self-grasping ignorance, we need to know what exactly is self-grasping ignorance. To know exactly what is self-grasping ignorance, we need to know the emptiness. Without knowing what emptiness is, you cannot identify what the self-grasping ignorance is. Right? You cannot identify between what is the grasping at the flower to be objectively real and what is the grasping at the flower to be real. Flower to be existent and flower to objectively exist. You cannot distinguish the two if you have no clue what emptiness is. So therefore, even to have a genuine renunciation, genuine, this is the key word. Just, oh, I'm renounced with, say, my life is so busy, so hectic, nothing there, it's so chaos and then home, I want to go to Himalaya. This kind of renunciation is also there. So with this renunciation, what happens? Then you go to Himalaya, then the two demons also come with you to Himalaya. The self-grasping ignorance also comes with you. Because you don't know that self-grasping ignorance is harming you. You don't know that. You don't know that, right? You don't know that. So therefore you take them along with you. They will also happily come with you in Himalayas, right? So therefore nothing really works. Okay, so to have a genuine experience of renunciation, you have to have some experience of emptiness, without which genuine experience of renunciation is not possible. Intense renunciation is possible. Intense renunciation and genuine renunciation, these two are different, right? Some people, when they think about the evident suffering, oh, here evident suffering, there evident suffering, evident suffering, evident suffering. No, there's no point. I have to get out of this evident suffering. Get out of the suffering, there's suffering. Then you just talk about the nightclubs, you talk about the chocolate, like this, the person really feels irritated. It's so intense. But it's not a genuine renunciation. The person does not know how to cut this miseries. Just the surface miseries, the person is fed up with the surface miseries. The root, he does not know how to cut that. So he does not know how to renounce the root. Okay. So therefore, there is, in fact, even for the renunciation, we need the wisdom. So if you come to know about the Bodhicitta retreat, now I think the one which we did in Bali is the 7th one, I think, 7th. So the 8th, 9th, 10th, it will go endlessly, right? The retreats will go endlessly. So there we meditate on emptiness 2 times. The first one as a part of renunciation. Then bodhicitta. Bodhicitta means, may I become Buddha for the benefit of sentient being. How are you going to become Buddha? By cleansing one mind. How to cleanse the mind? By wisdom emptiness. Again you meditate on wisdom emptiness. So wisdom emptiness comes twice, right? So it's in Lamrim, what is said there is the first one, renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom emptiness. That renunciation is to give you a sense of urgency. That is to give a sense of, in any ways you're going to meditate on emptiness eventually. So the genuine renunciation comes in any ways. So first you need to have a sense of urgency. So with this sense of urgency, then the bodhicitta can be pushed. With this, the wisdom emptiness will come. So this is the reason there. Now, in practical terms, how to say some people might have, say, addiction, infatuation, actually, not addiction, infatuation towards food. And others may have infatuation towards gadgets, electronic gadgets. Some might have infatuation towards, say, branded clothes, only with the brands, right? And some people might have infatuation with whatever, alcohol, whatever, right? So now it is extremely important. It is extremely important. The wisdom of emptiness, what we are doing, is not meant to cut your immediate attachment. It's not meant to cut your, say, immediate craving for food and so forth. Wisdom of emptiness is a very long-term plan. Long-term plan. We need to have 2 plans. One to overcome the immediate problems, one to overcome the long-term problems. Both plans should be there. Both plans should be there. For the immediate plans, say, even someone without any clue of wisdom and emptiness, they are so disciplined, right? With food. Okay, they like chocolates, but no, I have little, say, no, it's fine. I just took one bite, it's good enough. They have tremendous control there. right? So for this we don't need wisdom and emptiness, right? We need the willpower. We need willpower. So the willpower has to be cultivated. How to cultivate the willpower? Okay, I'm going to cultivate willpower. So I'm so addicted to eating food, good food. From tomorrow I will not have any good food. You to go like this, then it is like say this is say glass, and you are giving a shape to this glass. You are giving a shape to this glass. You warm this up. You warm the glass, and what do? You twist it. You twist it, and the shape is formed. A different design is formed. You twist it, right? And then you say that, oh, from tomorrow I'll never have any good food, right? Then you're twisting it like so fast, and then you break, right? So the glass will break and you break, right? You break, and then what happens? Then you will not come back to practice anymore. So there was one very rich merchant in Tibet, and he happened to read the great Saint Geshe biography. He read the book and he was so inspired. Wow, amazing! But just some ordinary person, through tremendous enthusiasm, become fluent in Latin within a single lifetime. Amazing, amazing, amazing! I'll also become one like him, right? Then he started just giving his properties to the people, to his relatives, friends. He gave everything. Then I'll also become like Jesus by giving him to the mountains. For what? For meditation. Right? To become like a great yogi. To become a yogi with a meditate hair like this. He went there. You put him in meditate hair and then you meditate. Okay, first is fine. If you feel hungry, still excitement is I'm going to become the enlightened one day. Then number 2, number 3, then you realize that there's nothing to meditate. There's no difference between me and the rabbit there. There's no difference. Rabbits also sit like this. I also sit like this. There's no difference. Right? And then, unfortunately, rabbit when he's hungry, he can go eat the grass. I cannot go eat the grass. Right? When the rabbit is cold, he goes into the barrel. Right? But when I'm cold, the night, there's no barrel to go into. Right? This is the defect. This is the disadvantage. Then he started to feel hungry. So then he started to miss the good food. He started to miss the blankets. Right? Then nothing to meditate. Right? Then he started to become agitated, more and more agitated. Then finally he said that this just Madhyamikavatara, he was a beggar himself, and he made me a second beggar. He cursed just Madhyamikavatara, right? Okay, then he just gave up, relinquished the practice altogether. So this is what can potentially happen. So this is not the way. How to build the willpower? This is the question. Building the willpower is not an easy task. Building the willpower is not easy. There are so many factors, so many factors. One, be as much as possible, be in a good community. Be in the company of good people. If you want to slowly give up your infatuation towards food, then always try to be with people who are not really infatuated with food, who have a good discipline over the food. Try to be with these people, right? Okay, not with people who are indulging into the food, right? The chickens like this, right? Chicken tandoori, and then they want chicken curry, everything chicken, right? Don't be with those people. Then automatically you'll slide down easily. So always be with people who are more vegetarian, with more discipline, and so forth. This is one. Then number 2, more think about the benefit. More think about the benefit of the willpower. Willpower of the benefit of the willpower of saying no to your desires. Number 2, right? Because desires, these are nothing, but they make you, they steal your freedom. They make you to, they take your remote control, right? Say you become fatter, and still the food is there, you can't refrain from eating, right? So you too want to become fat, and the food is there, you can't control it, right? So the vision is that you have to eat it, you have to become fat, right? So while you don't want to become fat, still you are doing something to make you fat, which is, and who's making it? This is your desire for the food, right? So this is which steals your freedom. You don't have the freedom to remain fit and fine. Right? You lost the freedom because of this desire. So this way, we think more about these things. And then finally, one thing which I would very much suggest is that say once in a while. If it is just with this example, then you can apply to anything else. With this example, then you can apply to all other things. Same with the food. Say, if you're so infatuated with eating good food, and you have the facilities, money, and all these things, then take very small step to say no to your, say, infatuation. Okay, so from this 1 month, or from this one month, for say within 1 month, for 2 days, I will skip the good food. Just 2 days. And tell yourself, 2 days is nothing. And you have only 8 days to enjoy food. Tell yourself, console yourself, 2 days is nothing. And then once you make this commitment, stick to it. 2 days, stick to it. Don't make commitments, okay, they say 20 days. Then you can easily break. Right? Make it 2 days. Once you're successful, then you see that you have the willpower, you can do it. Then make it 3 days, 4 days, like this. And then try to stabilize it. Don't continuously do it, right? Then 4 days, you maintain it for like next 3, 4, 5 months. Although you think that you can do it for another minimum, say, weeks. But then you do it continuously for like few months. Then it becomes very stable. When it's become very stable, again you take the next step. So this is how we slowly build our willpower. So without willpower, nothing will happen, right? And then with this willpower, finally, the uprooting will happen through the long-term plan. Long-term plan is the wisdom of emptiness. Then slowly, as you build these steps you take, alongside you build the wisdom of emptiness. You build your bodhicitta. You keep building them, keep building them, keep building them. And for example, some of the engineers of building, say, the big dams, which would take like 20 years. And the architect, the engineer, they're already in the, say, 70s, 80s, right? They don't expect to see the dam coming within their life, but they plan properly. Like this, you plan the wisdom of emptiness, bodhicitta, however long it will take, I will not give up. This you plan. And don't expect that it should come today. If you expect this, again you will relinquish very easily. And then immediately whatever steps to be taken, take those steps, which I said earlier. In a good company, and then reading seeing the benefits, and then say making some commitments, and then see to the demerits, how you lose your freedom. So all these factors you try to create. And then meanwhile think about emptiness and so forth. Then slowly when you start getting a little bit of experience of emptiness, then you blend the two. Then your conviction becomes very powerful. Very powerful. And that then say where earlier it is working on the basis of willpower. It is working on the basis of the willpower. Because willpower, although you like it, you stop it. Right? Still you see that something is there which I like it. Now with the emptiness experience, there's nothing really there which I like it. So this here, then it really cuts the root. There's nothing really there. Even if it is right there, then the attachment will not come because of this emptiness. It's just illusion, it's just what my mind creates. Okay, so these are the things, short-term plan and the long-term plan. Both are to be thought of. The last one.
Dear Geshe, a continuum or a flow, is that already indicative that it is imputed by mind and cannot exist objectively? Also, is it right to say that if things exist objectively, there can be no change?
Okay. Second statement is perfectly true. If things do exist objectively, there should be no change. Change connotes a cause giving rise to a result. Change connotes a cause giving rise to a result. If the cause gives rise to a result, the result should be dependent on the cause. If it is dependent, the independence is not possible. Independence and objective existence, these two mean the same, right? So this is very true. What's the first one?
A continuum or flow is that already indicative that it is imputed by the mind and cannot exist objectively.
Yes, okay. Is there anyone who asked this question in this hall? Yes. So why I'm checking who the person is because I want to make sure that I've got the question correctly. Because I know what this question, on what basis the question is coming. I know that. So I just want to double check if what the person thinks and what is coming to my mind is just the same. So what do you mean by that?
Because a continuum is flowing, right? It's relating to the second question. Okay, I keep thinking that if something is objectively existent, then
Subjectively existent?
objectively existent, it doesn't change. There it cannot have momentary changes. So a continuum means that it changes, whether subtle change and all that. So if it changes from moment to moment, it can't be objectively existing. So it must be subjectively and imputed by the mind to see the change. So the change that we see in the continuum has to be imputed. Something like that.
You got the answer already. Right? You got the answer?
So that is.
No, you got the answer, not got the answer.
I just want to confirm if that thing.
Confirm meaning I should say yes or no. So my answer is yes. Or you want more?
More.
More in what sense, in what context?
So somehow, although from a logical point of view, right, from looking at objective existence, you know that it infers that cannot be changed. Then from a continuum point of view, because you can see the subtle change, from that later analysis, you conclude that it cannot be objectively existent, so the only way for it to exist is imputed by mind. But at the same time, I have that feeling of when things changes.
So in fact, what came to my mind when the question was asked, why, so therefore I wanted to double check. I can just randomly give the answer, so it doesn't help. I need to listen to the person, what exactly is the question, right? So from the question, from the impression that I got from what you said now, I thought that you got the answer already. But what came to my mind earlier was that this is another question coming up with a continuum. Say I'm thinking of Potala Palace. I'm thinking of Potala Palace. Okay. So this Potala Palace, which is in my mind, is purely subjective or objective? Purely subjective, because this is what my mind thinks. The moment somebody says, "Hey, what are you thinking? Hey, what are you thinking? Hey, you have to drink water," right? So my mind is distracted. The moment mind is distracted, then the Potala Palace that was in my mind disappears, right? Okay. So, whereas, okay, this flower. Whereas this flower, right? I'm looking at it. I'm just looking at it, just lost in my thought of the flower. Then somebody says, "Hey, you have to drink the water." Then I'm going to do it. I'm distracted, but the flower will continue. The flower will not disappear, right? Even though that we say that this flower is coming from my subjective mind, but when the subjective mind is distracted somewhere else, but the flower will not disappear, it will continue. So there's a continuum there. So this continuum gives us an indication, that gives some kind of impression that there's a continuum from its own side. It has nothing to do with your mind. When your mind can be distracted elsewhere, the continuum keeps going. So this continuum concept gives an impression there's objective existence there. So how can you account for the continuum if objective existence is not there? So this is another very profound question coming up. Okay, so for this, what we need to think of is that this flower, what does it mean by continuum? Continuum means, say, the flower which exists for, say, 10 seconds. The first 10 minutes, The first minute mind changes into the first minute a flower, I'm happy. From the flower I moved to the mind because I was doing it constantly. First moment the mind, second moment the mind, right? Pertaining the emptiness of the mind. So that I'm very happy. Okay, so what I'm saying is that first minute flower, even without the mind engaged there, first minute flower will take the responsibility, give rise to the second minute flower. Even though my mind is not paying attention to it, and second moment of the flower will take the responsibility, give rise to the third moment of the flower. So it does its own function to continue this, to give a continuum. So it is operating by itself, right? Okay. Whereas the first moment of the Patala Palace in my mind, then second moment, third moment, the moment my mind switches to something else, it disappears. It cannot continue. Continuum is not there because it's purely subjective. Whereas in this case, how can it be purely subjective? When the attention is distracted, it continues on its own. It does not require your mind. So it is objectively there. This is the question. At the same time, we keep in mind what's continuum. Continuum means, say, the flower lasting for 5 minutes. The first minute, second minute, third minute flower, fourth minute flower, fifth minute flower. So the first minute flower gives rise to the second minute, third. So this is how the continuum comes into being. Then the question is, where is the continuum? In the first moment, or the second moment, or the third moment? When the second moment is there, first moment is gone. When the third moment is there, second moment is gone. Fourth is yet to come. Continuum is not there. So continuum comes only when your mind combines all these 5 together. Subjective mind combines all these 5 together, and then you just create an illusory feeling that there's a continuum. From the object side, you cannot pick up anything as a continuum, right? So this is a very good question. Okay. Yes.
Use the mic, please.
Yet the continuum has a rule, which is what you talk about, the functionality and efficacy. And that is still imputed by the mind.
Everything is imputed.
So as long as we are in samsara, it's basically mind-based, whichever levels you are in. So once so the whole samsara is basically imputed by the mind, and it has a certain working of the rules and functionality within while being imputed. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, we'll stop here. So, when I read my mind, listen, I don't know what happened. We'll have the next class at 7:30 in praise of dependent origination.